When Barron Trump extends a surprising Thanksgiving invitation to a humble war veteran, no one could have anticipated the life-changing events that would follow. What begins as a simple gesture of gratitude turns into a heartwarming story with an unexpected twist that leaves everyone in the room speechless. But before we dive in, leave a comment and let us know where you are watching from today. And if this story speaks to you, hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories. Thanksgiving at the Trump estate was always a grand affair, but this year promised to be something entirely different. The golden autumn leaves painted the long driveway as Barron Trump, now a tall and reserved young man, waited by the door. His eyes scanned the horizon. Today, he had invited someone very special, a guest whose presence would turn the family gathering into an unforgettable story. The guest of honor was Sergeant Michael Carter, a war veteran in his late 60s. Known for his courage and humility, Michael had faced hardships after returning from active duty. A chance meeting at a charity event hosted by Melania Trump had connected Barron with Michael. Deeply moved by the veteran's story, Barron extended the invitation, determined to show his gratitude to someone who had served the country so selflessly. The sound of a car approaching broke Barron's thoughts. A modest sedan pulled up, and Michael stepped out, his limp visible but his posture dignified. He wore a simple suit and carried a small gift bag. Barron approached him with a warm smile, extending his hand. "Thank you for coming, Sergeant Carter," Barron said sincerely. Michael shook his hand firmly. "The honor is mine, young man. Thank you for inviting me." As they walked into the grand estate, Michael's eyes widened at the opulence. Chandeliers sparkled overhead, and the aroma of roasted turkey and fresh-baked pies filled the air. The rest of the Trump family was already gathered in the expansive dining room. Donald Trump, Melania, and their close relatives turned to greet the unexpected guest. "Michael, welcome," Melania said warmly, gesturing for him to take a seat at the head of the table. Donald Trump, now an elder statesman, extended a firm handshake. "Thank you for your service," he said, his voice carrying a rare tone of respect. Michael nodded, visibly moved. "Thank you, sir. It's an honor to be here." The dinner commenced with light chatter, but the atmosphere shifted as Michael began to share his story. His voice carried the weight of decades spent in service and the struggles that followed his return. The room grew silent, every ear tuned to his words. He spoke of camaraderie, loss, and the challenges of adapting to civilian life. "It wasn't easy," Michael admitted, "but I've always believed in the power of gratitude. Even in the darkest times, small acts of kindness can light the way." Barron listened intently, his admiration for the man growing with every word. But Michael's next revelation left everyone speechless. "Years ago," Michael said, "when I was at my lowest, struggling to find work and a place to live, I encountered someone who changed my life. It was Fred Trump, your grandfather." Donald's eyes widened in surprise. "My father?" he asked. Michael nodded, his voice steady. "Yes. I had nowhere to go, and your father gave me a job and a place to stay. He didn't have to, but he did. That kindness saved me. And now, years later, here I am, sitting at this table because of your son's generosity." The room fell silent. Barron's face was a mixture of surprise and pride. He had never known this part of his grandfather's legacy. Melania's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "It seems kindness runs in the family," she said softly, her gaze shifting to Barron. Donald cleared his throat, visibly moved. "My father was a great man. And today, I see that his spirit lives on in my son. Barron, I'm proud of you." As the evening progressed, the atmosphere became one of reflection and gratitude. Michael's presence had turned the Thanksgiving dinner into something far more meaningful. The family, often in the public eye for their wealth and influence, was reminded of the impact of humility and kindness. Before leaving, Michael turned to Barron. "Young man," he said, "today you reminded me of the good in this world. Never underestimate the power of what you've done. Small actions can ripple through generations." Barron shook his hand, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Thank you for your service, sir. It's the least I could do." As Michael's car disappeared down the driveway, Barron stood silently, the weight of the day's events settling over him. He pulled out his phone and typed a message to his family group chat. Grandpa's kindness changed a life. I hope to honor that legacy. The story of Barron Trump and the war veteran became a reminder that true wealth lies in the ability to uplift others. It was a Thanksgiving none of them would ever forget, a day when past and present collided to create a future rooted in empathy and gratitude. As the days went by, the story of Michael Carter's Thanksgiving dinner with the Trump family spread. News outlets picked up on the heartwarming tale, and soon, social media was abuzz with posts celebrating the unexpected act of kindness. Sometimes the smallest gestures make the biggest difference, one commentator wrote, sharing a photo of Barron and Michael at the dinner table. Messages flooded the Trump estate, many from veterans and their families who felt touched by the story. Some shared their own experiences of gratitude and kindness, while others simply wanted to express their thanks for highlighting the sacrifices made by service members. Barron, unaccustomed to such widespread attention, found himself reflecting on the weight of his actions. It wasn't about the recognition, it was about the impact. He began to see his role in a new light, as someone who could inspire others to make a difference. Driven by this realization, Barron approached his mother with an idea. "I want to start a foundation," he said. "Something to support veterans like Michael. There are so many out there who need help, and I want to do more than just host dinners." Melania's eyes lit up with pride. "That's a wonderful idea, Barron. Your grandfather would be proud." The Barron Trump Veterans Initiative was born. With the help of his family and connections, Barron established a platform that provided housing assistance, career training, and mental health support for veterans. Michael Carter became one of its first ambassadors, sharing his story at events and inspiring others to join the cause. Months after that memorable Thanksgiving, a letter arrived at the Trump estate. It was addressed to Barron and came from someone he had never met. Inside was a handwritten note and an old photograph. "Dear Barron," the letter began, "I'm writing to share a piece of your family's history that you might not know. The man your grandfather helped all those years ago was not just any veteran. He was my brother, a man who went on to save countless lives through his work as a medic in the field. Your family's kindness didn't just save one life, it created a ripple effect that touched so many others. Enclosed is a photo of my brother and your grandfather. I thought you'd like to see how their paths crossed." Barron unfolded the photograph carefully. It showed a younger Fred Trump standing beside a man in uniform. Both were smiling, the kind of genuine smiles that spoke of mutual respect and camaraderie. The weight of the letter's words settled over Barron as he realized the true depth of his family's impact. That evening, he shared the letter with his parents. Donald Trump, known for his larger-than-life persona, sat quietly as he read the words. When he finally looked up, his eyes were misty. "Dad never talked much about the people he helped," Donald said softly. "But it's clear he left a legacy worth honoring. Barron, you're carrying that forward, and I couldn't be prouder." As the family reflected on the letter, they realized that acts of kindness, no matter how small, often have far-reaching consequences. Fred Trump's generosity had set a chain of events into motion that continued to make a difference decades later. And now, Barron was poised to add his own chapter to that legacy. The Barron Trump Veterans Initiative grew rapidly, attracting support from across the country. Fundraising events, community outreach programs, and volunteer efforts brought people together in ways that transcended politics and social divisions. Michael Carter remained a central figure, sharing his story and emphasizing the importance of gratitude and compassion. For Barron, the journey was transformative. He often thought back to that Thanksgiving dinner and the moment Michael shared his story. It had been a turning point, a reminder that true wealth lies not in material possessions but in the ability to make a difference. Years later, when asked about that pivotal Thanksgiving, Barron would smile and say, "It was the day I learned what it really means to be part of a legacy. Kindness isn't something you inherit, it's something you choose to carry forward." And carry it forward he did. Through his actions, Barron ensured that the values of empathy and gratitude remained at the heart of his family's story, proving that even the smallest gestures can create ripples that change the world.